What's up, guys? We're over here in Galveston, Texas. Going to be walking a couple different properties with you today. First one I'm going to walk is this one that's been completed. The investor is about to finish this one out, about to have it refinanced right in time for the the Airbnb season as it comes into the summer. It's February, it's still pretty cold. But after this fully rehabbed one, I'm going to also walk one that is potentially for sale, distressed property, and we're going to break down the numbers, and I'm just going to give you my general thoughts on if I like Airbnb and kind of some of the things I've seen over the years. This is our #1 Airbnb market down in Galveston, right by the beach. This property is probably about a 2-minute walk from the seawall, so it's a great location, full rehab. And yeah, I just kind of want to give you my thoughts on if Airbnb is a good investment.
I got to the point where I was only going to do Galveston.
Yeah.
I was going to get an office down because we were doing.
That would be a good one next door.
Hey, Joe.
Hey, Dan. We're in Galveston. I was going to swing by your house. It looks good, but the lock box, you just mean the electric door pad?
Oh, where are you at?
I'm in
They already put the electric door pads on. Okay.
Yeah, but it's not working.
I get it's. I mean, it's going to be a different code. And I thought they had a lockbox. Let me call that. Let me call.
Oh, you know what? I see a lockbox on the stairs. All right, Dan.
Are you there right now?
Yeah, we got in.
Is it working?
No, the keypad's not working, but we found the lockbox. It's actually on the stairwell.
Okay. All right. Cool.
Cool. All right, man.
All right.
Bye. Yeah, and this might be where they extended this.
It's not terrible.
This was a small house.
This is nice. Is that power here yet? Or no? I don't think
Yeah, we've stayed in a few of his Airbnbs. They're normally real good.
Yeah, I think I've used that before. It's good. It's nice.
So this is a fully done one. He put in $117,000 in rehab, all tied into the loan. He actually pretty good on what he does. He stayed within budget. He might have gone a little bit over. It did take him a long time to finish the project. It took about 12 months, but he's getting to the final stages. Going to have it ready to list right during the season. All new fence. More than likely what he's going to do is, only thing that you'd have to worry about by putting a lot of stuff out the front is people taking it and stealing it. But he's going to put some benches and tables out here to sit, during the summer. As you go to the beach, you come back, and this area is kind of your hangout spot. So all new windows, all new siding, all new roof. We built this deck. Super open plan. This all comes in on this main room.
This needs to be turned a little bit. But you don't notice the guys. Not bad. It's like a big backyard.
Got 2 bathrooms. Nice little accent wall. Oh, it's got another one here. It's actually got 3 bathrooms.
Yeah. Nicely done. I like those.
Yeah. All right, guys, driving along the seawall here in Galveston now, about to check out this investment property, which is for sale. For those of you that don't know, my name is Hard Money Joe. I've been in real estate full-time since 2017, mostly lending our capital to other investors now. And stay tuned for the end of the video. What I'm going to do is I'm going to give you the 5 real warnings you guys should consider if you're thinking about getting into Airbnb investments. So it looks like they try to start building some kind of deck out here. There's an old pool. Siding is definitely needs to be. There is a meter on there.
Yeah, I saw it.
Looks like a,
Probably the most positive thing that I've seen so far is the meter.
yeah, the pictures look like the siding was still there.
Yeah, I don't know how recent that was, but I went ahead and just took a couple of these nails out.
All right. Oh, there's no door.
This is the door. Go ahead.
I'll tell you already, it'll be more than 60. What is that? Is that the old heater? Where they used to?
The inside is not as bad as the outside. I mean, it definitely needs everything.
Yeah. It's starting to get a lot of mold because they leave it so exposed.
Front porch. Nice and big. Nice rugs in there. Bathroom. Look at the Mona Lisa. It was behind door number 1. I'm really surprised this thing has a mirror on it.
So just got one bathroom? It's got 2 bathrooms or 1? It's got 1, huh?
It's a 2-1, I believe. It's a 2. There's only 2 bedrooms, right? Yeah. 2-1.
I like that ceiling. If it was all under there, you keep that.
What is it?
Looks like they cut it from here.
Oh, this?
Yeah.
That's like that Texas City one did, remember?
Yeah. I like that.
Yeah, that stuff's really, that's a good thing about Galveston. All those houses are built like that. They kind of ruin it by putting sheetrock over it.
Yeah. I don't know if that'll be under here or not.
I'm sure it is. I'm telling you, the inside's actually not as bad as, you know, it just needs everything in here. But the outside's what needs the most, like actual discovery shit on it.
Yeah.
Little house in the back.
No condenser? No AC?
Gas bin.
All right, guys, I just kind of want to give you my personal experience on Airbnbs and, short-term rentals. I'm by no means an expert in terms of ownership. I've only owned one, and for me, it just wasn't for me. And let me just kind of outline some of the things that I've seen, lending on these over the last, 4 or 5 years. We've seen a ton of borrowers buy Airbnbs, and some have done fantastic, right? That's their main business model. And they have, 4, 5, 6 of them, and it gives them enough cash flow to live off of. So by no means, beat me up in the comments about, how great Airbnbs are, because of course they can be. But these are really some of the warning signs I see, and I advise investors when they bring us Airbnbs. Well, the first one would be that location is so important. back a couple years ago when Airbnb was the biggest thing ever, we noticed a lot of buyers buying properties in Galveston which weren't necessarily in the right location. And as more and more investors picked up properties, they became more and more difficult to attract, bookings, because they were, too far off the beaten track, and they thought just because they're in this area in Galveston that they would do well, when in actuality, people were booking the ones much closer, and then they'd had to lower their rates and obviously lower their profits overall. So really learn the location of where you're buying and find out which Airbnbs are attracting the highest nightly rate, and try to target those areas rather than just choosing any area just because it's in that location. I've used a program called Air BnB before, and it kind of gives a lot of the data, but just actually get on Airbnb and see what's available and kind of what the average prices are, right? So look at your competition, do a lot of work in your competition. The second one, and this is one of the biggest for me that I've seen, is if you're using a hard money loan to buy the distressed property, like that second property we just saw, well, you're going to have to refinance out of that hard money loan, right? And it can be a little bit trickier, especially when you're using something like a DSCR to refinance out of a short-term rental loan, because you don't have the income, you don't have the profit and loss statements that a lot of the long-term lenders, those 30-year lenders, want to see. So often it's a very niche product, and if you don't get it right and you're buying kind of a higher-end property, and they're basing their value off the long-term rent, it could mean that you end up bringing a ton of money to get it refinanced outright. And that's definitely not what we want to do as investors, is leave a ton of capital parked into that deal. So before you buy that Airbnb, make sure you speak to that long-term lender and get that refinancing completely squared away, so you know exactly what you're doing once that project's complete and you're ready to start getting bookings and making some revenue. The third one would be that what I learned when we had our Airbnb, that it's definitely not a passive investment, okay? It's something that you need to be involved in. It's really in the hospitality industry. So you're, having the toilet paper changed, you're having, cleaning booked. Now, with all the software and everything that is available today, you can automate a lot of this, even responding to, customers or clients or, bookings. You can automate a lot of that. But at some point, it's still takes quite some level of involvement. So if you're getting into, or you want to get into, completely passive investments, Airbnb and short-term rentals are definitely not the way that I've seen it the easiest. But if that is what you're passionate about, well, then it can be a great investment. So yeah, number 3 is really, it is a business, and you're going to have to consider it as a business. You will have to be a little bit more hands-on. The next one, and you can kind of see we're walking this and it's freezing cold, I'm wearing a jacket, is that your revenue, be careful to make sure that you're judging the annual revenue based on the seasons. So Galveston is a real seasonal investment. You still might get a few bookings in the in the colder months or the the non-summer months, but it's going to attract less of a price. So when you're judging your total financial outlay, your total profit and loss, and what you're going to make, just remember that this business is very seasonal. And I always hear Airbnb hosts complaining in certain period times of the year that their bookings aren't as high. They have a lot of vacancy. So that's the fourth one. And the fifth one, and something we've seen recently, is always keep an eye on legislation. So some markets, they're banning Airbnbs. They're making it much harder to do whatever you want with your own property. Whether you believe in the legislation side of it or not, I guess there is some valid points by having these houses in nice neighborhoods and people come and party, and neighbors don't like that. But we've seen in areas, I think like Georgia, I know in the UK, there's definitely some markets where legislation is being a little bit more prohibitive. So before you buy that, know everything about the current legislation and potential upcoming legislation, which might mean you change or have to change your business model. So just kind of reiterate, Airbnb can be an absolutely fantastic investment. I know plenty of investors, that's all they do. Again, it's all about finding your niche, and if Airbnb is your niche, that's awesome. But make sure those 5 points, you do plenty of due diligence before you get into your Airbnb, right? So there's also some other models too where you're not buying them, like Airbnb arbitrage. I don't know enough about them just as a hard money lender, right? We're lending all the time on Airbnb properties. People bring us properties to get loans on, and that's how I've seen some of these issues that arise. And those are really the 5 most common issues that I see when someone buys an Airbnb. But like I said, they can be a great investment. And, you know, my borrower on this one, the first one that we walked, the Blue House, that's all he does. He does fantastic on it. So, guys, if you've liked this content, my name's Hard Money Joe. I've been in real estate full-time since 17. I've done flips. I've done rentals. I've done one Airbnb. Wasn't for me. But now we've transitioned more into lending, and this channel is all about just providing completely raw content, no fluff, no hype, just kind of a day-to-day behind the scenes of what it takes to be a real estate investor. So we'd love to have you guys on board. Like and subscribe, and we'll see you on the next one, guys.